Ladies and gentlemen, we would like to present very briefly some of the key findings and recommendations of the mission of the Committee on Democracy, Human Rights and Humanitarian Questions, which we were able to lead to Eastern Ukraine between December 2018 and June 2019. Our team was composed of Mr. Kyriakos Hadjiyianni from Parliament of Cyprus, who is our rapporteur, and by Margareta, Vice Director of our OSCE PA Liaison Office in Vienna, and myself as Chair of the third committee. Our findings and conclusions reflect a totally dramatic situation which we found during several visits and fact-finding missions to eastern Ukraine, as well to the area of Mariupol, as to the area of Kramatorsk in the Oblast of Luhansk. All the visits we were able to do up to the front line and up to villages along the front line took place exclusively in government-controlled areas for the reason that it was not made possible to us, despite verbal, not diplomatic, etc., to receive authorization from Ukraine authorities to pass the front line to go across to the non-government controlled areas. So this is one thing we wish to do in the third quarter of 2019. We have great hope with the new presidency in Ukraine after the elections taking place on 21st of July in Ukraine. We have great hope that the new personalities in place will have a much more open and hopefully peace-oriented attitude, and also enable us to complete our report. The key findings you will find are principally claiming for a sustained ceasefire, for a disengagement under the Minsk agreement. All sides have since 2016 committed themselves both to ceasefire as well as to disengagement. In practice, the opposite has happened. We were ourselves witnesses during our mission of heavy weaponry being transferred around in the area of Kramatorsk, about 40 kilometers away from the front line, always on the western side of the front line. Our report also recommends to the Ukrainian authorities to rapidly implement the Mine Action Law of December 2018. It appeals to the authorities to change legislation on the internally displaced persons in many aspects, to delink the IDP status to the obtention of social benefits, and then also we appeal to all sides to strictly comply with international humanitarian law, and also to implement UN Security Council Resolution 1325, which requires a gender-balanced approach to all mediation, peace-finding and reconciliation process. These are some of the highlights that I would like to stress for our report. The report is now online, I think, and the Russian version, a brief Russian version, will be published within the next hours. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you very much for the introduction. I want to add actually the wishes to continue this mission also in the next time. It is a humanitarian mission and we have to take care for all the dimensions to help the freedom of the movement. This is a high priority. It includes a lot of helping people for social aspects. Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you for the cooperation. And I think that in the next time, after the election, as you mentioned before, we will be also ready with the help of other personalities to continue this humanitarian mission.
So, if we have time, for questions, please. Yes, please, you have the floor.
Let's go. Okay. TASS news agency Russia, Anatoly Bachin. Do you have any plans to communicate with the leadership, with the authorities in Donetsk and Luhansk People Republics? Because now there is no second side in this report which you presented. Do you have any plans to visit these regions which are not in control by Kiev? Thank you.
Yes, thank you for the question. Yes, we do. That was our intention from the start of this mission. I may add that the conduct of such a fact-finding mission was already suggested by the presidential visit of President Tsereteli of OSCE last May, and also the Declaration of Berlin has a strong basis for such missions to conflict or here even war-affected zones. We tried from the start in almost a year ago, we tried from the start to receive authorizations from authorities in Kiev to go beyond the line. It was always our intention to go across the front line. We had a long time ago authorization from Russian authorities to enter in the Luhansk and Donetsk district from the Russian territory. This was open to us, and we wish to stress that Ukraine authorities must also take their responsibility to authorize us to cross. Few other persons or organizations do get authorizations to cross from Kiev. We want it also because there is no reason for Ukraine authorities not to value parliamentary diplomacy, which we are doing. They are devaluating our work. They are ignoring our mandate of OSCE itself and also of our third committee if they do not give us this authorization. When we do go across to Ordo and Orlo, we will do the necessary contacts, also to ensure our security in those two regions.
But first, we want to get authorization from the Ukrainians, right?
This is correct. This is what we have always insisted on, and we will keep to insist on it.
Time for one more question.
Please.
Hello. My name is Alejandro Marx from the Luxembourg newspaper Vox. Will this report be presented also to the EU, the Russian delegation, and what do you think is the possibility of dialogue between you as MP with the Russian MPs?
Thank you for the question. We had the possibility yesterday morning before the standing committee to inform the Standing Committee orally on this report. At that stage, the printed report English version was already distributed to all the delegations. Of course, including the delegation of Ukraine and the delegation of Russian Federation, they were in possession of this written report in English, while I was reporting on it orally before the Standing Committee. And both delegations have given short reactions to the report, both rather positive. We will like to have a more substantial dialogue with both delegations, which we have also already been able to conduct at our previous conference at the winter meeting in Vienna at the end of February.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for attending.